Good evening. I am Professor Shalini Sahai from EC Department, SIRT Bhopal. Today, in this lecture, I am going to discuss about the signals, introduction about the signals. First, we'll discuss what are signals and what are their importance. The concept of signals and systems arise in a wide variety of areas such as communications, circuit design, biomedical engineering, power system, speech processing, etc. The idea and technique associated with these concepts plays an important role in such diverse areas. Although the physical nature of the signals and system that arise in these varied disciplines may be drastically different, two basic features in common are the signals, which are functions of one or more independent variables, contains information about the behavior or nature of some phenomena. So we can say that a signal, it is a function of some independent variables. The system responds to particular signals by producing other signals or some desired behavior is known as the system. So the system, it is on the whole respond to the input which is applied to it and gives the output response is known as the system. For examples of signal and systems in general behavior, we can say that voltage and currents as a function of time in an electrical circuits are examples of signals. A circuit is itself an example of a system which responds to applied voltages and currents. A camera, it is also a system which receives light from different sources and produce a photograph. So there are many kinds of practical system exist in our surroundings, which shows some response to the input applied to them. Now, for general, we can discuss automobile driver depresses the accelerator pedal. While driving in car or any vehicle, the automobile responses by increasing the speed of the vehicle is also a system. So system is the automobile, pressure on the pedal is the input signal, and the automobile speed is the response or the output signal. So we can say that automobile on the whole as a system, and we are pressing the accelerator, which is known as the input, and the speed of the car which moves where the input is applied gives the response. Now, for example, digitized electrocardiogram. It is also an input to a computer program for an automatic diagnosis of the electrocardiogram. So the program responds by estimating parameters, that is the heart rate of the patient. System is the computer program. Digitized electrocardiogram is the input signal, and the heart rate is the response or the output signal. So on the whole, we can say that the program which is programmed a computer, and the signals in the form of electrocardiogram we are giving to the system, and the response in the form of detection of the diseases is the response of the system. Now, control input signal to a robot arm. So the robot responses by producing movement of the arm. So system is the robot arm, and control electrical signal is the input signal, and the movement of the arm is the response or output signal. So we can define the major application areas of the signals and system. For example, communications, audio and speech processing, image, video processing, acoustics, circuit design, seismology, biomedical engineering, bioinformatics, energy generation and distribution system, chemical process control, aeronautics, and many more application areas where we can form a system through which we can apply the input and get the output response of the system. Well, now we'll discuss what is a signal. So it is a desired quantity. So signal may describe a wide variety of physical phenomena. It can be represented mathematically as a function of one or more independent variables. So for example, if we say that this is a signal which is a function of let x, y, z or xt, so the function value is depend upon the time. For example, time is xt, frequency is taken as xf, temperature, pressure, and many more other quantities. So we can define a signal. It is a function of some independent variable which is known as the signal. So it can be defined as an wanted information or the information which can achieve through a signal. Now, when we describe the signal, we come to know that there are main two types of signals, that is your discrete and continuous, and there are many more differentiation between the types of signals. Now, this video will cover concepts and techniques associated both with continuous time and discrete time signals or systems. Now, first we'll describe the continuous time signals that are defined for a continuous of values of the independent variable. The dependent variable is continuous. So when we take the independent variable of time t and the function has the value depends upon time t, so that is continuous time signal, will always be treated as a function of time. Parentheses are used to denote continuous time function. So we put in a parenthesis small t, which shows that x is a function of time. So the independent variable time is a real value and it is continuous. Now we'll come to discrete time signals. These are only defined at discrete times. The independent variables take only a discrete set of values, which means that the amplitude is continuous but time is discrete. So we have sampled the continuous time signal into regular interval or regular instants of time. So it will convert the continuous time signal into discrete time signal. Now it will always be treated as a function of n. So here we actually we are taking the samples. So t will be replaced by small n. Square brackets are used to denote that this is the discrete time function. So in continuous time, x and time is closed in a small bracket, and here the small x and n, the regular samples which we are taking, are enclosed in a square bracket. Now the independent variables n, it is an integer. For example, the speed signal as a function of time and atmospheric pressure as a function of attitude. So these are the example of continuous time signal. The daily closing stock market index an example of discrete time signal. So the share market where the closing of the stock market is not continuous, but it is closed for a discrete interval of time. So we can say that that is an example of discrete time signal. Now it is often useful to represent the signals graphically. So this is electrocardiogram signal where we are on axis we have taken the time and on y axis we have taken the amplitude of the waveform. So it is a continuous signal. Now this continuous signal is converted into discrete time. We will take a particular interval of time. So we have taken another example of discrete time signal where the signal is break into regular interval of time. So time is not continuous, but amplitude is continuous. So the continuous time signal can be converted into discrete time signal with the regular interval of time. Now we'll discuss types of signal. So types of signal we are considering as continuous, which is continuous regularly, which is having some amplitude on each every time, means time is continuous and we are having the amplitude of the signals. So it is continuous time signal. Discrete time signal, here we use the square bracket and we'll write the number of samples. So the time is break into a discrete intervals. So this is the kind of the signal which is known as the discrete time signal. Now continuous time signal and systems have very strong roots in problems associated with physics and more recently with electrical circuits and communication. The techniques of Discrete time signals and system have strong roots in numerical analysis, statistics, and time series analysis associated with such application as the analysis of economic and demographic data. In the past decades, there has been growing interrelationship between continuous time signal and discrete time signal in system. This has come from the dramatic advance in technology for the implementation of systems and for the generation of signals. For example, it is increasingly advantageous to consider processing continuous time signals and by representing them with time samples. So we are developing a concept behind the continuous time signal and discrete time signals. Both are in parallel, as both are the function of time, where the time is continuous, and in discrete time it is not continuous, it is a break into a regular interval of time. Since many of the concepts are similar, by treating them in parallel, insight and intuitions can be shared, and both the similarities and difference between them become more focused. Now, I have drawn the types of signals. So continuous we have drawn, and we have taken the square brackets. Now we come to periodic signals. So continuous periodic signal, that is which if we shift the time, the value of the signal does not change. So if it follows this property, xt is equals to xt plus t, where t is the period or the shift of the time t. Now it can be applied for the discrete time signal. Here we have removed or replaced t by small n and capital T by n. So n define the length of the discrete time. So if we have taken number of samples, so we have taken number of samples, for example 10. So n will be starting from, we have to define, and so we can show the discrete time signal. Now even and odd signal, if it is an even symmetry, which means that if x minus t is equals to xt, so it is an even, and if it can be applied as well as for the discrete time signal. If x minus n, that is equals to xn, so we can say that the discrete time signal. For example, if we are having the cos wave, so cos wave represent the even symmetry, and whereas the sine wave represents the odd signal. So odd signals like this, if x minus t is equals to minus of xt, then it is a continuous time signal and it is an odd signal. Whereas in discrete time of signal, if x minus n is equals to minus of xn, then it is a discrete time signal. So this is the signal symmetry in we have the signal can be plotted in all the four quadrants. So if there is a symmetry between first and second quadrant, then it will be even. So if there will be first and third, then will be the odd. So we are taking even and odd symmetry about the axis. So horizontal axis, about this symmetry, we can say that either this signal is even or odd signal. Now we'll discuss the exponential and sinusoidal signals. So this is the continuous time signal. So if this is represented by an exponential signal, where e to the power of minus t or e to the power of plus t. So the signal amplitude is increasing and it will goes decaying to 0 to in minus infinity, and it is starting from here, and it can be, we can say that it is exponential rise, or it will be decay at some time at the plus t. So if we can represent this exponential signal in the form of c e to the power of at, so c represent the amplitude multiplication of exponential series. So it is the range for which a is greater than 0 or a is less than 0. Now the periodic complex exponential and sinusoidal signals. So if we consider xt is equals to e to the power of j omega naught t, now we, for a periodic signal, t will be replaced by t plus t. So it will be shifted, and if the periodic signal follows this rule, then we can say the signal is periodic. Now we have broken into two exponential series, e to the power of j omega naught t and e to the power of j omega naught t. It can be represented by this. Now we must have e to the power of j omega naught t. This is equals to 1. The period t naught is equals to 2 pi upon omega naught. Thank you.